What was the hardest part of quitting your dream job? I'd wanted to be a NICU nurse since I was 12 years old. Not a regular nurse, specifically neonatal intensive care. I used to watch those medical shows where they'd show these tiny babies fighting for their lives, and I knew that's what I wanted to do, save the smallest, most fragile humans on Earth. I spent 6 years in nursing school, volunteering in maternity wards every weekend. I'd study while holding healthy newborns so their mothers could sleep. I even took extra courses in pediatric care that weren't required. When I finally got hired at Children's Memorial Hospital downtown, I literally cried in the parking lot. This was it, my dream job. The NICU was everything I'd imagined and more. The machines were intimidating at first, all those monitors and tubes and alarms going off constantly, but I learned fast. I loved the precision of it all, measuring medications down to the tiniest fraction, monitoring breathing patterns, celebrating when a baby gained just 2 ounces in a week. My first patient was Elena, born at 28 weeks. She was so small I could hold her entire body in one hand. Her parents were terrified to touch her, so I became her constant companion. I'd sing to her during diaper changes, tell her about the weather outside, describe what the cafeteria was serving for lunch, anything to give her a voice in that sterile room. The first year was magical. Hard, but magical. Every baby that went home felt like a personal victory. I kept photos on my phone of kids I'd helped save, not professional ones, just quick shots their parents would text me of them taking first steps or starting kindergarten. But slowly, things started changing. The hospital was cutting costs. They told us it was temporary, just until the budget balanced out. But it never got better. We went from having 4 nurses per shift to 3, then 2. My 12-hour shifts became 14, then 16 hours regularly. I stopped eating proper meals. I'd hide protein bars in the supply closet and sneak bites between emergencies. I started getting called in on my days off. When I tried to say no, they'd guilt trip me hard. "You're so good with the Johnson family. They specifically asked for you. How do you say no to that?" Then I got assigned to baby Connor. Connor was born at 25 weeks to a single mom who worked 2 jobs. His lungs were barely developed. His skin was so thin you could see every vein. The doctors weren't optimistic, but his mom refused to give up. She'd visit every day after her morning shift at the diner, hold his tiny hand, and whisper prayers in Spanish. I became Connor's primary nurse. For 3 months, I watched him fight for every breath. I learned basic Spanish phrases to comfort his mother. I even crocheted him a tiny hat with his name on it because the hospital ones kept sliding off his head. One Thursday night, I was pulling a double shift when Connor's monitors started going crazy. His oxygen levels were dropping fast. I immediately paged the attending physician. No response. I paged again. Nothing. I called the charge nurse. She was dealing with another emergency 2 rooms over. Connor was turning blue. I started infant CPR on a 3-pound baby while screaming for help. Finally, the crash team arrived. We got him back, but not before he'd suffered significant brain damage. He'd never walk, never talk, never have a normal life. Later, I found out the attending physician had gone to his car to take a nap because he'd been on call for 36 hours straight. The system had failed Connor, and I couldn't live with that. That night, I sat in my car in the hospital parking lot and cried until my eyes were swollen shut. I went home and wrote my resignation letter at 3 in the morning. 2 weeks later, I cleaned out my locker and said goodbye to the NICU forever. People thought I was crazy when I took a job at a pediatric hospice center.